Okay, the Board of Electrologists and Body Art Practitioners meeting is convening at 10:07 a.m. on August 7th, 2023. This meeting is being held by MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. The Health Licensing Office asks individuals attending through MS Teams keep your phone muted and cameras off during the entire meeting until you're given an opportunity to comment during public and interested parties feedback period indicated on the agenda. That's except for board members. Please do not use the chat feature during the meeting. I will now call roll. Lisa Chambliss.
Present.
Audrey Jones.
Present.
Ryan Othis.
Here.
And Paul Thomas.
Present.
Thompson, sorry.
Thomas.
It's Thomas or Thompson?
Thomas.
It is Thomas. Thank you. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your name for the record. Board members are asked to not use the chat feature during the meetings. Public members attending in person wishing to speak must first sign in on the roster sheet available. For public members calling in on the public phone line via MS Teams, public phone line, MS Teams, please email April Fleming at april.fleming@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties feedback period may be heard during the interested parties and public feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocol when conducting board business. This meeting is now called to order. Woo, that was a mouthful. Okay, so the first thing is to approve the agenda. So I just need a motion and then a second.
This is Lisa Chambliss. I move to approve the agenda.
This is Paul Thomas. I second.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Lisa Chambliss.
Aye.
Audrey Jones.
Aye.
Ryan Othis.
Aye.
And Paul Thomas.
Aye.
Okay, so we don't have on the agenda introduction. Probably should have you about that, but we do have a new board member. So Paul, if you will go ahead and introduce yourself, and then all of the board members go around, and there's a couple staff that will want to introduce themselves.
All right. Hello, my name is Paul Thomas. I've been both a tattoo artist and piercer for the better part of 16 years now, I guess. I've owned my own tattoo and piercing shop for the last 13, and I'm happy to be here.
Lisa, go ahead.
Welcome, Paul. Happy to have you. My name is Lisa Chambliss. I'm a public health nurse with Lane County Public Health. I've been a nurse in public health for over 10 years now, and I am the healthcare provider on the board and have been here for many years now.
Nice to meet you.
Ryan.
Hi, Paul. I'm Ryan. I'm a tattoo artist and scientist and philosopher. I've been on this board for a few years now, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
And Audrey.
Hi there, I'm Audrey. I'm an electrologist and been doing that for about 5 years now. It is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And I already met Paul this morning, but I'm Sammy Patnode again. And April is in the back. She's the board specialist that you'll get emails from. And Tina, if she wants to introduce herself. I can see
Good
her.
morning. I'm Tina Russell. I'm the licensing manager. I've been with the office for 26 years, same with Sammy. And welcome to everybody.
And Travis, are you on already?
I am. Hello, welcome. My name is Travis Shuck. I'm the interim regulatory manager. I've been with the agency for about 15 years, been around policy and regulatory for a long time. So nice to meet you.
Okay, Derek's on there too, and you probably have talked to him because he does executive appointments, and we will just keep on going. So Bob is out. Bob is the director, interim director. He's on vacation, so lucky him. So me and Trampus and Tina are running the show. Scary, right? So the first one is the director's report. Only thing I would report for Bob is legislation finally ended. Legislative session, we ended up with a lot of bills, a lot of rules to write and things like that. I'll go in more depth about that under policy. But Derek is going to go ahead and give the board member recruitment report for the first time. So he did a new memorandum, and this is very good. And go ahead, Derek, take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Foltz, and I'm Executive Assistant here at the Health Licensing Office. And a large part of my job here is recruiting board members for now 14 boards and councils that we have. I also work with the Governor's Office of Executive Appointments, which is the office that ends up making the final decision on who gets appointed to these positions. So right now, all in all, HLO has a total of 103 board and council member positions, with the addition of our newest board, which is the sign language interpreters. And this particular board that you guys are on, the electrologist body art practitioners, has a total of 7 members, and that consists of 2 tattoo artists, 2 body piercers, 1 electrologist, 1 healthcare provider, and 1 public member. So in case you're wondering, the health licensing office doesn't actually get to decide the actual makeup of the board. These are all decided in statute. And if you're curious, it's statute 690.401. When we do active recruitment for this board, this board's actually nice because a total of 5 positions on the board are individuals that need to be licensed through us. So one of the best tools that we have for recruiting new board members is just simply reaching out to our licensees. And this board has a pretty large licensing pool, so we can usually get qualified candidates to apply. Now, outside of reaching out to our licensees, we have several other resources that we use, including our interested parties contact list, or doing press releases and articles that go in different state-ran publications, and those get blasted around all over the place. So now, if you're looking at the board material on page 8, you can see the term information and reappointment status for each of the current board members. Now, members are allowed to serve up to 2 4-year terms, or a total of 8 years altogether. And as you can see, most members are in their first term with the option to reappoint for a second term if they so choose. And for individuals that are in their first term, I usually reach out to them about 2 months before the end of that first term to see if they're interested in serving, and then I can help walk them through that reappointment process if they need to. Another nice thing about this board is that they have a rolling application deadline, which means that I can send recommendations of qualified candidates to the governor's office on a monthly basis. We have a few other boards here that have to go through what's called the Senate confirmation process, and that only happens a few times a year, which can, slow things way down. But for this particular board, the last round of recommendations we sent was on July 5th of this year, and we were actually able to fill the last board vacancy with having Paul Thomas join, and Paul is a licensed body piercer. So assuming that all current members on the board serve at least through the end of their first term, this board actually looks like it's going to be pretty stable for the next few years.
Yay.
Does anybody have any questions about the appointment process or recruitment?
Ryan Othis, I don't have any questions. Good job filling the spots. Thank you.
All right, turn back over to Sammy.
Thanks, Derek.
I'm
The only thing I would
sorry.
add to that is sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
All right. Sorry. This is Lisa Chambliss. So this is my last few months on the board after, gosh, I don't know how long, 8+ years.
Yeah.
And so if I have any, if I know any other medical professionals that are interested, how do I navigate that? Do I go to you, Derek, or send them to Sammy, or?
Either one.
Yeah, either one. You can definitely send them to me, and that goes to everybody on the board. Since you guys are the professionals and know the industry the best, word of mouth from you guys definitely helps us out. So if you have anyone that's potentially interested or just has general questions, you can definitely send them my way.
Great. Thanks.
That was exactly what I was going to say, Lisa. So good job. Nothing else to report on that. Licensing and fiscal statistics. I don't do this report very often, so bear with me. It's a lot of information. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go over them. Licenses issued for this fiscal year. So starting in July 1, there's been 37 tattoo artists. And then since, there you go, I'm just going to say that. For piercers, both standard and specialty, we've had one person licensed this fiscal year, which has only been, a month, but still. For earlobe piercing, we've had 4 get licenses. Wait a minute. Well, there's another body piercing one, and there's 2. So I don't know what that is. Moving along. Tattoo licenses renewed this fiscal year, is 154. Total over since 2022, it's been 3,353 for, hold on, I'm going to see if I have 2 body piercing ones. No. For piercing, it's been 12, and for a total of 221. For earlobe piercing, it's been 4 for a total of 112. And for electrologists, we've actually had 9 licensed in 2020 this fiscal year, and we've had 160 renew. Oh, this is renewals. I'm sorry. Yeah, 160 renew, which is really good. Body piercing facilities is an upward trend. Yay! So they're up to 917 as of the first quarter of the fiscal year. Earlobe technicians down like by 2, so not drastic. It pretty much stays between 100 and 120, 25. Specialty piercing, same thing, stays between 2019, 2021. Electrology, you can see at least on the visually, it looks very big, but it's about 6 people. But for the profession, being static at about 85 to 90 for the last 26 years, that's a pretty big increase. So, almost 10% in just a few months. So, and hopefully that's because of our fancy new rules. Hopefully. Tattoo artists are just generally on an upward swing. They've been for a long, long time. So just keep going up. We're up to 2,158. In standard piercing, kind of, we're getting up there. We're at 76 now. We were at 78. We're at 81. So some people are dropping off for whatever reason. But yeah, we're staying pretty stat above 65. Gender. Well, I could tell you something, but I don't know what the totals are. So I'm just going to say it's a pretty blue and orange chart without going through every age. The examination statistics, which is always a fun one. So for fiscal year 22, we had a total of 33 exams taken, 20 passed and 13 failed. And I'm just going to report for 24, we had 6 exams taken, 4 passed, 2 failed. For tattooing, for the 24 fiscal year, we've already had 68 take the test, 41 passed, and 27 failed. And then your cash balance and fiscal report, you guys are looking pretty good. So you got $1 million and some change in there rattling around. So potentially looking over the next couple of years as maybe a fee decrease. I don't know when exactly, but potentially, in the next couple of years, because we only really need to have a 3-month carry forward balance, and that's pretty large since your expenditures are only, they kind of vary actually. So it just kind of depends. It's a topic for conversation at some point. And that is all I have to say about that. Go ahead, take it away, Trampus.
Well, hi, this is Trampus again to talk about the regulatory report. Looks like you guys have 2 bienniums still showing up on this report. The first biennium, the 2021 biennium, there are still 18 cases out there that are still open or, not being actively investigated. They're done as far as the investigation goes, and they're in administrative phase, or they're being actively investigated. That's out of 109 that came in that biennium, which is kind of about double from what we had in the 2023 biennium. We had a total of 56 come in during that whole biennium, which I just got over. So these are pretty much complete numbers. And we have 31 of those still open. 25 of them are currently closed. So a total of 116, active investigations or completed and not quite closed out investigations. On to the right, you can see the complaints by type. You can see the type of complaints that came in, COVID complaints, licensing concerns, safety and sanitation. You can see the totals for all of those. A lot of them for this group are licensing concerns. A lot of alleged unlicensed activity would fall under the licensing concern situation. So as you can see, that's kind of a big bulk of what we end up working with. Your safety and sanitation and other types of complaints make up a smaller portion of that group of complaints. Yeah, so that's kind of the overview. Those are the kind of the sweeping numbers, the obvious stuff on this report. Is there anybody that has any questions that I might be able to answer or expand on regarding this report?
Yes, please. This is Ryan Othis. To go back up to the graphs and stuff that we have for the electoral, any of the new licensing stuff, are those numbers on the line graph for fiscal year 22, 23, 24, especially for tattooing, are those total number of available licenses that are active, or is that something else? I'm trying to see the growth, because the initial plotting that we had like, I didn't know what the testing or something, total renewed. I didn't know if that was like the same artists or if it's new artists that are being licensed. It's a little bit confusing for me. Like, is there 2,158 licensed tattoo artists in Oregon?
Hold on. There's like 85 reports.
Are you talking about slide 23, for example, for tattoo artists?
I can't see what slide it is. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Luddite with my tablet right now. I apologize.
Where it says like tattoo artists, and then it shows it going from 1,561 up to
Yes,
2158.
That's correct. Yeah.
No.
Is that total?
I believe
because
that's
I'm doing an
total.
economic analysis right now.
Yes.
I think
like
I can
state by
help.
state.
Oh, Nate's on.
There you go, Nate.
So are we talking about the line graph?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's the average number of licensees for that particular time period. The problem is you can't really put a specific number, because during a Q1 we could have, daily licensing numbers change. So that's just an average number of licensees, active licensees for that particular time period. Yes.
Okay. Active licensees. So at that time period, we could assume that there was 2,158 active tattoo artists in Oregon in total.
An average for that time period.
An average.
Because during that time, like, the first day of Q1, it could be 2,156, and 4 days later, it could be 2,159. And so the number jumps around a little bit daily, but that's the average.
The average. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to put together an economic analysis of tattooing, like by state, and this is really, really helpful to know that. Thank you very much for the clarification.
No problem. Would it help on this, just because I'm always looking for ways to prove board reports, would it help to kind of clarify that that's an average, or put something in the chart to say that?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Hold on, I'm just making a note here.
Go ahead, Paul.
So with that in mind, you're stating that the standard number of body piercers is 76 in the state?
Yes, sir.
Whoa, that's a small amount. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you'd probably, if you wanted to get a good picture, you'd want to add the standard body piercers to the specialty level body piercers, and that would give you the total number of people that are allowed to do standard body piercing in the state.
Copy, thank you.
I have a question. Do you know where the numbers are for the electrologist testing? It's on that.
They don't have testing. There's been none.
Nobody's taken their state licensing test in this year for this quarter.
No.
Hey, Sammy, are they going to add how many people for electrology have applied for temporary trainee and supervisors to those charts?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. That'd be cool to see that info.
I should have got with Nate on that. I apologize. Temporary trainee, supervisor. So just to expand a little bit on the electrology question, HLO does not administer the electrology exam anymore. We haven't since 2020. So the school does it, and the school has not been doing that, which is why we have the new rules where the supervisor gives the practical examination or a proctor who is signed up through HLO and gets paid whatever fee they get paid. So that examination isn't done here anymore. That's why there is no exam results, but there should be in the coming future.
Which school? There's no school in Oregon anymore.
Right, that's the problem. That was the problem. Is the exam, the school in Oregon was closed. So there was no one to give the exam.
Right, oh, okay.
Okay.
So the increase in electrologists is like, because I'm newer to it.
Right, so at the end of the meeting, that's when we ask questions and we'll give you answers. So I'm next with the policy report. And so first off is legislative summary. Most of this would not affect you in any way. The only one that could is the new licensing board. I have no idea how many licensees it's going to be. I think maybe around 300. But I'll be taking on that board, bringing them on, helping Derek get the new members and rolling out their rules over the course of the next year, let's say that. And that could adjust your guys' percentage on what things are done. I don't think it will too much because percentages are kind of based on exams and exam maintenance and things like that. And I don't believe they're going to have those things. But again, it's new, so I don't know everything. The only other thing, which is not on your report, is Senate Bill 11 passed. And Senate Bill 11 changes the public meetings law to have, so currently the Oregon Ethics Commission oversees like executive session and what happens in the executive session if the board goes outside of executive session, but now they'll oversee and have penalty authority over all public meetings law. With that, any board that has over $1 million budget in a fiscal year will have to take a training throughout their, somewhere throughout their board membership. It also recommends that all members take it, so we'll be reporting on that. They're supposed to have it up and running January 1, so I imagine in your first 2024 meeting, Derek will report on that in his report. So we'll let you know if there's a link. I don't know if it's going to be in person or both, so we'll just keep you posted. That's probably the only other one that would affect you guys. The next item is, so this really small report, the item writing schedule. So there are Carrie Edwards, who is not at this meeting today, so I'm going to give her a report. She is going to facilitate an item writing committee for body piercing. Several of their questions, she actually rewrote them, and so she's bringing that examination to the committee to look them over. rewrite if they need to, take them away, just to kind of go over everything, make sure it's up to date with all the rules and things like that, practice standards, everything. So she'll be doing that on September 11th, and then we'll bring it back to you guys on November 6th for approval, and then put it into play on January 1. So that's good. And then the examination, so we updated the study references. So it was Skin Deep 3rd edition, which is no longer available. So again, Carrie Edwards went and resourced all the questions that were related to Skin Deep 3rd edition with Encyclopedia of Skin and Skin Disorders 2007. And I double checked and she got every one of them correct. It's like a test. Oh, Carrie is here. Hello, Carrie. I did not realize. I'm sorry.
You're good. Go for it.
So, okay. So you guys got the, so you guys are the first to see this. So you got the memo and you've got the candidate information bulletin. This will go out this week to all schools. So thank you, Carrie, for your hard work on that. Any questions about those 3 items?
Maybe this is Brian Open. Actually, I may have one. Do you know if you have any update on the bill that was introduced about education requirements for topical anesthetic application in tattoo and piercing?
It didn't even get a hearing.
Okay.
It would have been mine, and I would have been reporting. Sorry, it didn't. It's actually the second time that one's been up, and it never. I don't think it got a hearing the first time, but there were so many other things I think on their radar that it was hard for us to keep some of these bills alive. And then the Senate stopped meeting, and it was like So no, it didn't go anywhere. But it's been up twice, so I can't imagine it won't come up again.
Roger that. Thank you.
No problem. And probably the biggest thing about that, Ryan, is somebody has to be behind it. So electrologists have something similar in their laws, but they had somebody pushing it to get done. So you can get a bill, out there, but you got to have somebody backing it, like always calling, emailing, where's this at, what's happening. Okay. So if you don't have that, it just kind of falls off the radar. And if you ever need help with something like that, just give me a call and we can work through it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe I'll give you a call sometime and we can talk about that more. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Okay, if nothing else, I'm going to find my script again. So it's interested parties feedback. I can always really make a mess. Okay. At this time, the Board of Electrologists and Body Art Practitioners will hear public and interested parties' feedback. Members of the public, this meeting is being held via MS Teams video conference and being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. Please be sure to mute your microphone and unmute only when you have been recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and affiliation to the board for the record. Does anybody in the audience have comments? In the person audience here, and then I'll call on you, Sheila. I see you.
Okay, my name is Brenda Cox, and I'm an electrologist up in Beaverton. So I have a question about.
Can you guys hear her? They can't hear you. Come over. Okay. You can have a chair. Gonna come on camera.
Okay. Hi. My name is Brenda Cox, and I am an electrologist in Beaverton. And my question is, I'm not understanding where the figures come from for the 160 electrologists when there is, what was it, 84? So is this, are these partially people that are working, or are these part of these not working electrologists?
You and I can discuss that offline.
Offline, okay. Okay, and then we have another question about, but somebody else is going to ask it regarding something else that's on this. So is that all for later?
Yeah, I'll
okay,
just explain
this is just something else. Okay, and then as far as the bills were concerned, I don't know anything about that number 11. I wasn't aware of it. So is there somewhere that we can look that one up?
Yep, I can send it to you.
Okay, and then the rest of these we can just read from this script here, right? What they were about. Okay.
And if you've got the electronic one of those,
Mhm.
there's a link, which I can
Oh, okay.
resend in the email.
Oh, okay,
I'll just make sure I have it in there.
okay.
And then I'll show you how to read those charts. Was one of the questions Ryan had. It's the same one you have. So I'll just gotta show you.
Oh, okay.
It'll make more sense.
Okay, because one of the questions I had too is there is an electrologist that's out there, but she's never practiced before.
Yeah, we don't monitor that.
Okay, and that, my only question about that was with this new ruling about the 2 years kind of thing, and here's somebody that's had a license for 10 years who wants to teach, for example, they just wanted to come up and start opening a practice that way. Can they just go ahead and, when they've never had a business
I think the
before?
supervisor has to have 3 years of experience.
Has to have 3 years.
I believe so. I can look that up.
Okay, so, but there's a difference between actual practicing and having a license for 10 years and not doing anything with it.
I believe so in the rule.
Okay.
Or to be a supervisor,
Okay,
if that's what you're asking. To be a
yeah,
supervisor.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I can look that up after.
Okay, and that's all. Thank you.
Let's see. Anybody else in the room? Yeah. Oh, yeah. They can't hear you back there, so go ahead and come up here.
Hi, I'm Olivia Britsweet. I'm here with Tama Mueller, and we are representing Reform Oregon Tattooing. And we just want to kind of put a pin in the tattoo committees that were coming up the last couple of years, and like the Rules Advisory Committee, and what was the other committee?
Qualifications.
Yeah, qualifications. So we just wanted to kind of put it out there that we're still interested in doing that this year. I don't know if it's on the agenda, but we just wanted to let y'all know that we are ready for it whenever it comes up.
Thank you. I can address that. Okay. So that is all correct. We had 2021, we had a few body piercing and tattooing curriculum / qualifications and rules advisory committee for piercing and tattooing. All of our, what do you call it, expectations changed. The governor said we need rules for electrology, so that took a front seat. Midwives took a front seat. So you guys are somewhere on the docket, I think in 2024. And I could do rules anytime really, but I'm kind of waiting for Cerinthia to get the education and stuff. I mean, I can change a rule to say 3 hours here and 4 hours there, but I think there's more content areas that need changed. So kind of waiting for that, but definitely she's been out for a while. So when she gets back, we'll reevaluate and see where everything's at, but you're still on the list. Don't worry. Is there anybody on MS Teams? Sheila, I think maybe you had something?
Yes, is my microphone on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, related to the number of electrologists, I looked while you were on, I went back to look through the total list on your website, and there are only 78 active electrologists listed there. But then they're there on another page. If you include the expired and inactive, you get an extra maybe 38 people. That still doesn't come close to the 160. So, and it doesn't seem humanly possible that we could have gotten that many, double our numbers in the short amount of time that we've had the instructor program.
I can explain this if you'd like.
Go ahead, Nate. Thank you.
So when you got to look at the chart you're looking at for, let me get down there to it. Electrologist, that's renewals. So in Q1, for instance, we had 28 people renew. You can see that 7 of them renewed by paper and 21 renewed online. This isn't, that 160 is not the count of the total license. That's renewals. And if you have to renew every year, like you can see that it's about right, 78 people renewed in FY22 and 73 people renewed in FY23. And since FY24 just got started, it's 9. So it's not a total count of licensees.
Right. That'd be nice if there could be a total that would be really accurate, that would come out in your paperwork. glad you got it figured out. That's great. But, you know, it would be nice if, for the board members to see the total as it is truly on the day of the meeting.
On
Well, I
the
can't.
graph. Oh, go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
No, I say I can. The thing of it is, yeah. I mean, you mean the total number of licensed people when the report is generated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be at the licenses by age and gender. I think it got cut off, but there's normally a total box down there, and that would be on the day of the day the report was run. So that's why that's missing. But that's for that covers all of the above. If you want a total number of licensees in the report, super easy to do for each field that are active. I can do that.
Does the line graph, like what Ryan was talking about?
That's an average. The line graph shows an average. But if you wanted I guess I'd call it a snapshot, I can do a snapshot report the day I run the report, and it'll say, as of the date of this report, this is the number of licensees in each field. Remember, that can change actually from day to day. But if you'd like it in there, I can certainly put it in there, no problem.
Let's work on that, Nate. I'm going to write it down.
Sure, it's not a problem. I can add a lot of stuff in these charts. What we tried to avoid in the past is some of them would get so big that, you know, they were turning into just a gargantuan amount of information. It was just getting impossible to process it all. So we're trying to give you what you want and not stuff that you don't necessarily want.
Is there any of these that the board members think that I'll ask you under other board business.
A question on the age and gender.
Let me make sure that there's nobody else.
I have one more thing, Sammy.
Go ahead, Sheila.
I wonder if it's possible that we could access the list of instructors or supervisors that have licensed, to become supervisors, so that when we have a client or an inquiry about how to become an electrologist, we can know where to send people to go for training now.
It's usually, I believe it's posted to the web for piercing. I don't think it's been posted for electrology, but I will get on that and we'll send out an email.
I think that'd be really helpful.
And I'll make sure me and Nate will get it added to this report.
Okay, that's all I have.
Is there anybody else on the phone or on MS Teams that wants to weigh in? We have 19 participants. Okay, hearing none. We have a second question from the audience in the room.
On the licenses by age and gender, is this like the tattooing or body piercing? Or
it should say right at the top.
It doesn't.
It's everybody who's included in the chart. It's the total. I can break it down. I can break that down by license type, but just remember, and I don't mind, but it'll take you a lot longer to go through this board report. I mean, it can get very granular. So at one point it was decided to put, kind of group everybody into the age and gender overall. That can be broken down again, but you guys just tell me what you want. If I can do it, I will.
Let's talk about that, Nate.
All right. Sounds good.
Maybe if it could just be labeled, if it's just electrologist or if it's a combination or something. Also, it says here it's licensed by age.
Got it. Okay. Okay, anybody else have comments? Is there executive session? There is. Do I have an executive session script? Somewhere in here. Okay. Did I get an executive session script and I just can't find it?
Yes.
Most definitely, I'm sure of it. Somewhere in this pile. Hold on, I'm trying to find a script. Got it? Got it? I'm a mess maker over here. We've got piles. Okay. The Board of Electrologists and Body Art Practitioners will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602F and ORS 676.595 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 10:46 a.m. on August 7th, 2023. Representative of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive session by MS Teams will be provided further login instructions shortly. MS Teams will be muted for the duration of the executive session. Are there any news representatives of the media on the phone or in the room? No. Recognizing none, there is no news media in attendance. The public phone line will be muted. For the duration of the executive session, we will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decision. It is estimated that the board will return to public session at 11:10 a.m. I'm just taking a wild guess there. Please be aware that it's possible that the board's executive session will last longer than 11:10 a.m. If the public has any questions about whether the board is still in executive session, then the public can contact April Fleming at april.fleming@oha.oregon.gov. We are now in executive session. Ta-ta!